Thank you folks for clicking on the video. If you'd like to be informed when new videos go live, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell notification icon. Please feel free to like, comment, and share the video with family and friends, as it really does help the channel grow in the current YouTube algorithm structure.
It is the 31st century, and mankind is once again at war. The battlefields of the future are dominated by huge robotic war machines known as battlemechs. Piloting these awesome weapons of war are men and women, the elite of the elite, knowing that each battle could be their last. They are mech warriors.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Swamp Dog Games. Today we're going to be doing a review of Battletech, the Clan Invasion box. So previously I had done an introduction with the Battletech, a game of armored combat box. I believe by far that was the superior method of entering the Battletech game. However, that was $60. This is an MSRP of $50. And this came out during the Clan Invasion Kickstarter. Now, this does say it does require a game of Armored Combat box, which is required to use this set. So this is kind of an add-on, but I want to see what is in here and how this compares, and if this is a worthwhile addition to your Battletech play. Again, this did come out during the Kickstarter. I do remember the controversy. I know that they had the warning, art is not final, but when they did the original preview for the Clan Invasion box for Kickstarter backers, it was essentially an alternate artwork with a Mad Cat on the front of it. When it finally hit and they revealed the artwork and people got the box, it was some other battle mech, I don't remember, but it was an Inner Sphere mech, I think, and maybe it was the Vincent. No, it wasn't a Vincent. And everybody was upset because they had thought it was going to be just an alternate artwork of the Mad Cat, which would make sense because this is effectively the epitome of clan technology right here. The Mad Cat, or I remember it, the Timberwolf. My first introduction to the Mech Warrior series, or the Battletech universe, was through the Mech Warrior video games, Mech Warrior 2. And I remember being confused when I started playing the tabletop, and I'm like, what are these strange names? I remember this being a Timberwolf. Why is this now called a Mad Cat? And effectively, again, going with the clanners are effectively Space Warsaw Pact, while the Inner Sphere is Space NATO kind of thing. Is kind of applicable with the naming conventions. So, it is obviously stated that you do need the other one to play. But looking in here, you do get your... Oh, this one is by Blaine Pardue. I had talked previously about Blaine Pardue being a good writer and getting fired, and I think it was completely unfair. Well, here's his works right here in the box, and so if you want to get a good lowdown on his writing, you can buy the Clan Invasion. Of course, then you have the back here, which gives you the visual guide of what is what. The Summoner / Thor, Timberwolf, Mad Cat, the Quintano, and the Grasshopper. This, again, is a more recent edition. I keep saying recent edition. I grew up with the WizKids version of Battletech, so I keep on thinking anything Catalyst is more recent edition, though they've actually had it for a good, 10 years at this point? You have your basic cards for if you want to play Alpha Strike with these mechs, which one of these days I got to get to that. Then you have these pilots that provide little changes to how the mechs operate with different bonuses and complications. those, of course, are 2 requisite die. If you do need the other game, I'm a little bit confused why you would include this. I'm hoping that even though it says you need the other game, that they did think this through and were like, hey, maybe we do need to provide at least a little bit of a primer and rules in here so somebody can actually play this. No, this was the mech. This is not an elemental. Is that Executioner? It just says EXCT. My mech recognition is a little off today. Because this is the Timberwolf. That is not a summoner. That's a Puma. This is a Nova Cat. These are the elementals. This is sort of... They're not sized perfectly well, but essentially the elementals are like Starship Troopers, armored suits. So these are actually guys in armored suits with jump capability and a couple missile launchers and a hand cannon laser. This is essentially the Battletech version of Starship Troopers, the original Heinlein book, not the movie's combat system. I mean, I guess they're kind of sized well against the battle mech, but it's not a full 1-to-1 comparison. I believe these are all like 5 or 6 millimeter scaled. There we go. The Clan Invasion Primer. This is everything you need to know to be able to play the game. So these are the Inner Sphere circa 3052. So these are your various galactic powers. However, this is the Clan Invasion Quarter. They don't explain what clan is what, are they? Okay, here they go, yeah. Then they have the Clan Invasion Zone. So this is Jade Falcon, this is Clan Wolf, this is Clan Ghost Bear, and then this was Clan Smoke Jaguar. Out of all of Space Warsaw Pact, Smoke Jaguar, the biggest bunch of a-holes you ever met. And was the topic of Mech Warrior 3, as well as the Mech Commander game and Mech Commander Gold game was taking out Smoke Jaguar. These were essentially, out of all of the clans which had varying tolerances for Inner Sphere people, these were probably the closest to space 1930s, 1940s Germans that you could get. They were some real bad hombres. A little bit about history of the clans. Clan Ghost Bear also had their own game in Mech Warrior 2. It was an expansion, Ghost Bear Legacy. Clan Jade Falcon, not as bad as Smoke Jaguar, though they are some pretty bad hombres as well. They definitely have a stick up their rear end that they are the superior ones out there. Clan Wolf was sort of like, hey, we're the descendants of the Inner Sphere. We should come in peace and protect it and shouldn't try to wipe them out in genocidal format, but because of their weird social structure, sure ended up losing and thus having to join in on the invasion. You did have a couple other clans. Diamond Shark is sort of their mercantile clan. Nova Cat and Steel Viper. I'm trying to remember. They don't figure that much into the story, so I'm trying to remember what makes them so special. Clan Coyote was a big one because that one was technically responsible for inventing the Clanner's advanced Omni-Mech technology. And then some basics about how their system works. Yeah, as space settings go, somewhat bizarro, just because they really aren't that coherent a society. I find it hard to believe, even in a space fiction universe. Like, you thought the Klingons were bad from Star Trek. The space clanners are worse. They're sort of like absurd dedication to honor to the point of it goes beyond practical reality, and I just don't see that happening. At least, though, this one does recognize some of the periphery powers, which I wish the other one had gone into, because some of these are pretty cool. These periphery powers that are around the inner sphere. Yeah, basic explaining of Omnimex, some more material you can get. I'll do a review of MechWarrior Destiny. I prefer MechWarrior 3rd Edition / A Time of War to this one. I still need to get sold on MechWarrior Destiny, but I'll get to a review on that. Of course, then, all of the books, the fiction material that you can get. Some are short stories, some are novellas, some are full-on novel series. Here are your mech sheets, everything that you need to mark off on here. I've already said my piece on this handout. That here is your cardboard cutouts with some additional copies of mechs to use, as well as some battlefield alterations, and then your map, combat engagement map. I have the full-on neoprene mats, which I prefer over this, but these ain't bad. Yeah, I think every time I've played, it's either been in the Mega Mech or tabletop without that, and just using the hex distances for inches and engaging more traditional style. Now, this I wish had been included in the other box, an actual map of the inner sphere. And this, by God, is actually a very good map, because this one includes then all of the planets, actually, so you can get an idea of how the galaxy is spread out and set up. Obviously, this doesn't include, like, the far distant Yarn folk, but it does give you, like, the relationships of capitals to each other. What is the scale on this? The problem, though, is probably and if you hadn't known the fact that the camera, the reason why this goes across is because during one of the succession wars prior to the clan invasion, Steiner and Davian actually married, and so their realms joined up together, which was a plot point later. After the clan invasion, you then had the FedCom civil war between the original Steiner and the original Federated Sons, and the Galactic Civil War that erupted in between that. That was the plot line of Mech Commander 2, Mech Warrior 4, and Mech Commander 2, Mech Warrior 4. What other games took place in the FedCom? Yeah, because, no, I'm thinking of Mech Warrior 4, because Mech Warrior 4 had the base game, Mech Warrior 4 Vengeance, then it had the Black Knight Legion expansion, and then it had Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries expansion, all of which took place in the FedCom Civil War era. And then you had then the Space Jihad, which, subject better left for another day when I can stomach it. But this is a very nice, big, quality map that, minus the fact that Terra's like right in the corner, so you can't see it because it's been folded over multiple times, this would be one worth for framing. I wish they would sell, this is one of those maps I wish they would sell in a tube, and I could actually then frame it, because this is a pretty good quality war map for this game. Now, taking a quick look at the rule book, does have your weapons and equipment rules in here, some explanation of the slightly more advanced technology, Elemental explanation does have the construction rules because clan mechs introduced a new complication. An issue this game does have is that it's been constantly iterated upon, and so you have, as the game has progressed and more time has occurred in universe, more advanced technologies, which then they've had to incorporate into their construction rules. So the big thing about this is they do include their own force builder that Catalyst maintains. There is no rules in here about combat insofar as the base explanation. It does have some like advanced combat options you can take and some explanations about how clan units function, but it definitely, this book relies on the previous one. And here's again your camo specs artwork. There's the Mad Dog / Vulture. There's your Thor. That's an Uller, I think. And so this is definitely a full-on expansion. There is no repeat of material in here whatsoever from the other Battletech Wargame box. If that's the case, I'm sad to say I'm not sure what the utility then of this box is for. Granted, you get access to that nice map, and I guess you could call it a starter. Yeah, I really think, though, that the other one was rated an 18 for the quality of that what you got in the box. If they could have dropped the price down in the starter box, I think it would have been worth it. This one, I'm not sure what I would rate it. Honestly, from utility, I'm probably going to do it a 2. I'm sad to say. You get some nice stuff in here to expand your game, but there's nothing in here that you can't get with the other books. And if you buy a Battletech, A Game of Armored Warfare, and you enjoy it and you want to expand it, I don't think this is the right direction to take. If you are like a first-time buyer and you just bought the Game of Armored Combat and you haven't played it yet and want to give your friend an opportunity to perhaps expand it, maybe buying this box with it. But I think value-wise, you're better off buying the full rule book. I mean, granted, that's $50, plus then you get a book of, or not a book, but a box of clan battle mechs. You're looking at $75-$80 compared to the $50 this is. But the longevity of the fuller rules and those mechs, I think that's going to be a better direction to take you off on. I'm just not sure long term if this is going to support your gameplay. Now, I know they're coming out with Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter, and I'm probably going to be getting that. It might be a little unfair. This might be worth a 14. If you just want to play, let me upgrade this to a 14. The reason why is, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, you're not a hardcore Battletech fan. You just want to play it with your friends occasionally, a small expansion to increase some options, but you don't want to be a hardcore dedicated fan. This could probably be a 14 for you, where you just want to be able to pull this off the shelf, show it to a friend, get up a game, do it, put it back on the shelf, not play it a couple months, and all you'll ever do is play these boxes with a friend occasionally. Yeah, this probably has some utility. I'll put this up at a 14, maybe slightly above average. But in my personal opinion, if you really want Battletech to be a Battletech player, you're going to be better off slowly starting to purchase the books, slowly starting to purchase the mechs, getting involved in 3D printing your own mechs, and buying the expanded rulebook so you can have infantry, so you can have vehicles, so you can have aerospace assets, so you can have advanced combat operations rules for operating on all kinds of planets across the galaxy. I think as a former hardcore Battletech player. And I only say former because I haven't played it in so long that I'm a little out of date with some of the rules, so I can no longer claim to be an expert on the game. I'm an expert for when I played the game, I'll put it that way. I think you're better off with those other rules, but yeah, 14 is my final verdict for the box. If you just want to play this, you want a nice little coffee table game to play with friends for a couple hours on a weekend, and you know you're not going to be a hardcore Battletech player, and that's not going to be your dedicated war game of choice where you're just dabbling in it, this is probably a decent expansion for you. But yeah, for me, if you want an actual hardcore Battletech experience, please buy the rule books. They've already been a decent number of rule books for sale in Humble Bundles in the past, which if they become available again, I will link to them on this channel. But that is going to be your hardcore venue. This is your weekend player, like once or twice a year avenue. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. If you think I'm wrong in my summation of the quality/value proposition of this box and think that this is actually a better value proposition than what I'm giving it credit for, by all means, please tell me in the comments below. If you want to know when more videos become available, you can hit subscribe. If you want to see videos before they become available on YouTube, sometimes months ahead, because I publish reviews every Thursday, but I film them in chunks together. They will be put on my locals, thekendigreport.locals.com, where you can see them ad-free, and sometimes months before they become available on YouTube, as well as engage with me directly of any debate that you think needs to be had in regards to the quality of any of the RPG/wargame products I review. I'll see you all next time. Hope you enjoy playing your game. So I hope you are all get interested in Battletech, and I hope all your die, ooh, so close, be boxcars. See you next time.